But you got your Mickey D's, huh?
I did. I remember it flying when I wiped out on the bike. I remember it, like the burger flying out of the bag, and
Iowa to
big
do
one.
just this, work on crops like this.
It just gave me more compassion. Like, how can this dude is like? You don't see grown men begging other grown men very often.
jurors must know that if they don't convict him, the city's gonna burn.
It's gonna burn.
I did a story once when I interned at the St. Paul Pioneer Press about romance scams, and they're especially heartbreaking because, well, it's romance, but even
There's
that
basically nothing that would separate a drunk with his late night McDonald's. What's up?
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. What's going on in Minnesota?
Well, it's gray, and so I'm still as pale as before. Otherwise, I was gonna wear that pink orange shirt we talked about last time,
Yeah.
Like,
okay, you start blushing, you disappear into the shirt. Yeah.
but I'm gonna wait till the summer when I get a little tanner.
Okay.
I can, it can pop a little more.
Yeah.
So it's gray. It's gray.
You know what
and
you should do?
great.
You know what you should do? You should wear it like every podcast, and we can track how the pale versus tan versions of you look in it. And there's probably there's going to be 1 week where it's like your peak, your peak pinkness, and we'll know.
That's right. If I got sunburnt instead of tan, which happens, then I would really blend into that shirt. But we got the before shot because we had it there. So that's the before, and I'll do an after one this summer where I'll be tanner, and then I'll put it on. I'll say, "Does this look better?" And you'll be like, "Nah, it really did."
It won't be
but
quite
you'll be
the
stuck with it for the whole podcast.
So yeah. So any highlights from the week? Any ups, downs, good stories?
My dad's retiring, so I had to go up and help him with his shop. He's a mechanic. He's a mechanic.
Okay.
He's had his own automotive repair shop for 40 years, and he's retiring, so we had to move a bunch of parts out of his shop.
Yeah.
So I was literally moving tons of metal. Some of it's recyclable, and you can make some money on it, so it was worth it. But it was hard.
Was it how are your ears feeling?
Why?
Was it heavy metal?
We're gonna leave that in there just to punish you.
Hey, I think it's funny. I think it's a classic.
Punish nothing. It's a good joke. You'll gain followers and fans on that.
Yeah.
You'll have t-shirts. You have t-shirts. Is it heavy metal?
Well, okay, so did he sell the shop? Is the shop going to stay?
He's actually moving it to his garage by his house, and he's going to do like little pet projects.
Okay.
But he's getting into the property, which comes with a house and a big garage, which probably won't be used for a mechanic anymore. He's selling all his equipment and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, that was his life. So he's actually a little sentimental, and he played for me two sentimental country music songs. Like what was it? I didn't spend enough time with Grandpa, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Very subtle.
Yeah. Country music like that. It was actually a lovely song. And he just sat there and listened to it, and you know how it's meme culture now. So if you play something for somebody, it's really hard to play something for them for a long time, because they're just going to sit there and listen to it with you for a few minutes, 4 minutes or whatever the song is. Like, that's a long time to expect someone to sit there and listen to it with you. But someone in an older generation, that's normal. They're not in meme culture. They're not like snappy Twitter. So he's like, "Yeah, listen to this." I'm like, "Okay." And you think it's going to be a few seconds or a minute, but it's like several minute song, and you're just sitting there listening to every refrain, every lyric, and Dad just sitting there taking it all in. And it's like kind of a tad bit awkward because it's long, but you know what? Just sit and enjoy the song. And that actually reminds me of college when I wanted to show this one young lady that I like Tool. So I says, "Hey, listen to this song." And it was a Tool song. It was like 9.5 minutes long. And so we sat and listened to it for 9.5 minutes.
The toughest part,
this will impress her.
Well, but did she how did she react? Did she sit there and just watch or listen? Or
I think it was like the stereotypical maybe high school girlfriend looking at her boyfriend's car and him telling her all about the engine, and she's like, yeah, okay. Oh no, we put on these new exhausts, and so, there's this much more free flow of air, and it just gets this much more horsepower. And she'd be like, yeah, okay. And that's how this young lady was, just kind of like, okay. But it's awkward, because there's like this intense listen, and she knows I want her to like it. So even if the song was wonderful, it wasn't the place to.
Yeah, the hardest part with those, I mean, it's one thing if you have a music video and you can focus on that and listen to the song and have something, something for your eyes to do. But if it's just a song, what do you do? Like when you're playing for your dad, when your dad was playing the song for you, what did you look at? Did you just both sit still and look at the wall or a car? Or,
There was he put it on YouTube, so there was a music video.
Oh, okay.
But I watched some of it, but I actually sat across the desk from where he was at his office, and I just listened. It was a good song. I tried to appreciate it, especially when I compare it to country music today. This was actually quite good. It didn't have like a clap track,
Country music today is just basically, I mean, popular country. It's just pop music, right? With a guy with a person with an accent and a little bit of maybe a steel guitar mixed in. Or I don't even know if they throw steel guitars in, but last country.
Yeah, that's why I like this song. It was a little more traditional. There was a real guitar, real acoustic guitar, I think, and a real drum set. It was humans playing. It wasn't a machine. You could feel that. So it was a good tune. I liked it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I got a random question. Have you ever found a scar and not know where it came from, or found an injury of some sort?
Well, I have a scar actually right here in my chin. I forgot where I got it, but there's actually a little hole where it doesn't grow very well.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how I got that, but I think I fell on my face when I was a kid or something. I can't remember. So
but
there's
I mean,
that.
But as an adult, have you just looked at your body and thought, I wonder how that got there?
That's a common thing you hear from alcoholics.
Yeah, when I asked you
because they black out and then they wake up and they're like, oh geez. So, I'm a former drinker. I'm sober now for a few years, and there was a time where I got drunk once and I rode a bike, so I knew where the injuries came from, but I didn't know the extent of it until I woke up the next day. And man, it hurt to walk because I crashed on my bike like several times trying to bike home with a bag of McDonald's drive-through. Yep. It was that night. I had no light on that was a bad deal.
Yeah.
That was a bad deal. I wiped out on the road a few times. Hilly.
But you got your Mickey D's, huh?
I did. I remember it flying when I wiped out on the bike. I remember it like the burger flying out of the bag, and and I had to run over and grab it on the road and put it in my brown bag again and then bike home. This was at night too, so it was dangerous. If a car would have came and I would have swerved, I mean, it was just one of those deals where you look back and you're like, man, I was really lucky.
Yeah, but here's what I want to, not to make light of the seriousness of what could have happened, but at that point in the night, you've got the food. Because I mean, I speak for myself too. What would have had to have happened to that burger for you not to eat it? You know what I mean? Like, what would it have to have gone through to abandon?
If somehow it flew in the ditch rather than land on the road, and if it came out of its paper wrapper,
you'd have still eaten it.
Depends if the bun and the burger would have been all over the place. Then I would.
I think that thing could have completely blown apart, and you'd have pieced. I
would have been fighting with the patty with an animal.
Yeah. There's basically nothing that would separate a drunk with his late night McDonald's. That I think its superpowers would emerge, and it would just be.
That's true. That's true. I was really craving that food.
I can't even eat stuff like that anymore. There's certain foods that I think maybe it's just a young body, or just because even now when I drink, there's certain I can't eat McDonald's anymore. I get not. Okay, when we were driving back from Arkansas, and we got McDonald's.
Okay.
I think we got breakfast and the hash browns.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I can't.
I think I ate your hash brown, and I don't really eat starches. I don't eat much potatoes, but I ate yours. Yeah, I was fine.
You did. I can't do it anymore. I've retired from McDonald's. I can't. Maybe I could get a shake, but I sure as hell can't eat anything that's dipped in some from Friday.
It's funny how our taste buds mature, you know, like a child doesn't like dark chocolate, but now I love it.
I guess I'm still a child. I mean,
yeah, are you?
I can't. I mean, it's not. You could put Hershey just milk chocolate bar, and you could put a dark chocolate bar side by side, just right next to me, next to my whatever. And the milk chocolate, it would be gone before it actually hit the surface. The dark chocolate it'd be there for eternity.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
well,
I
then
remember
let's use
one time
another.
what's that?
No, you go ahead. Tell me the story.
As a little kid, I mean, I love chocolate so much. I remember one time going through I guess I was just a chocolate fiending for a hit. And I found some Baker's, semi-sweet, chocolate.
Oh, yeah, baking chocolate.
Like, chocolate,
I know.
And I, had to learn that the hard way. I think between that and, okay, honestly, I don't know how I didn't go through a bar of X-Lax. Remember X-Lax used to be, maybe it still is, but it used to just be chocolate. You remember? No, well, the way you take X-Lax, I mean, now I guess it's pills or whatever, but it used to be just chocolate, little pieces of chocolate. And that's, I guess, how it made it. Maybe it's designed like that for kids. I don't know. Anyway, I remember at times thinking, debating the risk reward.
As an adult or a child?
Not as an adult, as a kid. Because as a kid, it's like, I want that chocolate,
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even think twice out of eating it. It's like the Advil. It's dangerous for kids because it tastes like candy.
It does, the coating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm sure there had to have been some bad outcomes that came from that.
Probably.
But okay, so the reason I asked that question, because it's been a couple of weeks, I guess, because it's scarred over now. But I have a scar that's on like right in my midsection, and it looks like somebody came in and stole a kidney in the middle of the night. And it's just, I don't remember how I got it. I have no idea.
Well, have you gone to the doctor to find out?
No, I guess I'm just crossing my fingers at this point. Let's see if you can see it.
What you got to do is.
See that?
Oh, that's a stretch mark, dude.
No, I promise you, it's scabbed over, and it's peeled off.
Well, you probably got it out at the farm where you stored.
Yeah, I mean, I probably did, but no, I do want to get back to. So I told you how I was going to watch. I was watching the QAnon documentary on HBO.
Yeah.
And how I had thoughts. And so let me ask you this, because I didn't really know anything about it. Do you know, what is your knowledge of QAnon?
Sure. Well, conservative, you go, there's a political spectrum, which actually I think is more like a circle, really, because if you go too far one way or the other, you end up sort of being the
same person. Yeah.
But anyway, if you go too far, whatever your beliefs, if you go further to the right, you get a little conspiratorial, and it attracts conservatives who are, I guess, pretty extreme and I don't know, worried or conspiratorial, maybe a little gullible.
But do you know anything? What specifically do you know about this? I mean, other than just general conspiracy type theories, what do you know about QAnon and its beginnings and stuff like that?
It's been to me, it's a little strange. Like, it was supposedly this person on the inside of the White House that had like, hey, we're an insider, we're going to whistleblow, and we're going to tell you everything that's going on. And then they had these, and then they made these claims that were pretty extreme, like Trump is going to arrest Hillary Clinton. It's coming up. And a lot of people ate this up, I believe. And in doing so, it created a movement. And then they congealed through the where we go one, we go all.
Okay, so you know a little bit.
Letters and one, we go WW, where we go G, one, W, G, A.
It's a long acronym. It's not really.
Yeah. It's weird. I would see that and I was like, what's that? Like hashtag WW. And then I learned, I was like, oh, it's not even like saying anything. It's just a creed just to say that we're together.
It's from the movie White Squall.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Which white squall, the name kind of has probably, I'm sure, an extra little bit of the storm, the white squall. It's a storm about a squall is a storm in the ocean,
Yeah,
maybe, but
yeah, yeah.
white
I know.
squall, storm is coming, all that kind of
Okay.
plays into, yeah.
And it's been extremely um I guess successful and it has endured, right? Despite the things that have not come true that they claimed
Yeah.
that would, it has endured, which surprises me, but I don't know, that's a lot of people are susceptible to that kind of, I don't know, excitement, suspicion. I've believed some conspiracy theories, in my adult years too. So I kind of get it, but this one is, I've looked into ones that are a little more mainstream, like the JFK assassination and things like that. But yeah, this is pretty out there. It's pretty extreme stuff, and yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm sure the movie just sort of laid all that out, and
Well, I mean, yeah. So I went into this thing. It's a six-part, six-part documentary on HBO. It just came out a few weeks ago, and it just wrapped up this past weekend. And I knew nothing. I knew I'd heard of it. I knew it was some sort of conspiracy theory based thing, but I didn't really know. Like I knew the whole Pizzagate, DC, like that was connected. And
yeah,
but basically, I won't get into all the details of it, but I mean, I think it's definitely interesting to watch. But I think what some of the stuff is so absurd that people believe in this thing, and then you kind of see the journey of like the Q figure who's giving these bits of information or bits of this and that, or this can happen, and then there's a point where it kind of they think Q maybe went from one person to another person, and another person guiding the thing. But when the way they lay it out, you can see that it's all just it's kind of absurd, right? And that's not just me being someone who's thinks I'm better than that.
It's like any movement that gets off the rails.
Well, so what I kind of what at a certain point, I just thinking how do people get sucked into this, But I think there's a part, and okay, so it got me to thinking like, how do people get sucked in? How this? I think that the through line between this conspiracy and other conspiracies and a whole lot of other things. I mean, you could rope religion in, you could do different things. And I think people just want to believe that there's somebody out there who has the answers and that will guide them, that will direct them down the right path, that will lead them, that will give them the answer in a world of confusion and questions and chaos, that they will give them the answers. And it's kind of, I don't think life really works that way. And so, okay, so I've been thinking over this, and this is the best thing I came up with, is that you've got vegetables on one side, and you've got, let's just say, chocolate, your preferred type of chocolate on the other side, right? One of them is delicious and instantly gives you gratification. One is something that's mostly bland, and but it gives you nutrition and helps you, but it's a longer process.
Yeah.
And I think that we want things to be instantaneous. We want the rush, the high, the quick thing that makes us feel good in the moment, not the thing that's sometimes boring but gives us the clarity or strength over the long term. And I think the conspiracy theories are just that chocolate, sitting right in front of you, that you take a bite and you're like, oh, this tastes good. And eventually, by the time you realize the shit is it's taking you down a wrong and unhealthy path, you've put on 50 pounds, you're just like, well, might as well keep on eating. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, you're invested. Invested. I did a story once when I interned at the St. Paul Pioneer Press about romance scams. And they're especially heartbreaking because, well, it's romance, but they're very effective and destructive.
What's a romance scam? What would you say?
So personal. Well, like if you get caught on a normal email scam, you just get fooled, like, oh, I thought that was this other website, or I thought it was a PayPal site, but it really wasn't. But the romance scam, you end up befriending and getting interested in this fake profile. And you've chatted with them. They're sometimes they can be quite sophisticated. So they have actors or actresses play the role of the profile person. So even though the person behind it is someone from another country that sounds nothing like, it could be a different sex, it could be a dude pretending to be a woman, and it could be a dude in Africa trying to pretend to be a white girl in Alabama. But so they hire like an actress or someone they know there at least to sound like this woman, plausible. Anyway, the person on the hook gets so invested that it becomes perpetuating where they don't want to admit it because then they have to admit something bad. Right. So they really, really, really want to believe it's true. And then that keeps them susceptible. It keeps them gullible.
So you double down because you don't. Not only do you want to be a sucker to the person who fooled you, but you don't want to look like a sucker to the people who know you.
You don't want to be a sucker. You don't want to have your heart broken. And you really like this person. You really thought you had something special. Yeah. So the romance scams are particularly, I find them, I'm always curious about the people who scam. Like, who are these people that they can do that with a clear conscience?
Well,
I've often wondered that.
Yeah, I mean, some people just don't.
It's so dirty,
right? You just disassociate.
So yeah, they have these places like in Nigeria. It's really bad for that, and they just have their whole shop set up where that's all they do. And I'm not sure if it's as popular as it was, 5-10 years ago when I did this article, but yeah, to go through with that ruse and to continue to get someone to give you money, which is what happens. You say, "Oh, I'm in trouble. Can you give me $1,000 to help? I'm stuck overseas. Can you help me get a plane ticket?" Okay, I'm on my way. So they really keep you. They perfect it.
Yeah.
They get as much pain out of you as possible. I mean, it's torture. It's like a professional torturer.
Sick.
Yeah, like
what is it? Dominatrix. They're like
we're gonna torture you in the most. You see some of those medieval devices where they try to come up with the best way to torture someone, way. Like, how can we inflict as much pain as possible without killing them? And that's kind of what these scammers do. Like, how can we make them give us as much? One guy I called, he put his house up for mortgage. He ended up losing about 40 grand for this woman.
How long? I mean, and it just speaks to the loneliness that some people have, the loneliness and desperation to feel that, because.
Yeah, so to exploit that is really, yeah. I mean,
have you ever been on the wrong side of that equation?
No, I mean, I know I have responded to dating profiles that have been scams. And then it took me I don't know, a couple of exchanges to realize it was fake.
Yeah.
But I've never, gotten that far. How about you? Have you?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I got onto dating apps. I never did any online dating, but I got an dating apps, I don't know, a couple years ago. I got on Bumble, and then I thought, after I kind of, then I was like, well, let me check out this Tinder thing. And my God, it felt so, everybody on there felt fake. Everybody. I mean, the vast majority of people felt fake. It just, so I got off of there real quick, or just advertising some, no, call me on the, email me this or do that, reach out to me on Snapchat or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Those are a lot of those I think are fake. Or they're just trying to promote their Instagram or something.
Yeah, I just no. But anyway,
spamming.
But yeah, so the QAnon doc, I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's almost, and when you see the people who are kind of pulling a lot of the strings, or who are believed to be pulling the strings, then I mean, if I was someone who believed it and I saw these people, I'd double, triple, quadruple down, because if I had to admit to myself that these people were the ones who will get me to jump through hoops and do the dance, then I mean, it's when you see them and you hear them, you're like, this is the guy who's manipulating all of this, all these people, these guys. At least have it be some sort of
kind of like the Wizard,
kind of smooth, like cunning, just somebody who's just like, oh yeah, I could definitely see myself getting scammed by that person. These fools. But anyway, it's.
I think it's important when watching a movie like that, to balance it, because a film like that is actually, in a way, I worry, in a way, it would be just as radical as the QAnon movement itself. I shouldn't say that, not as radical,
No.
but done in a way to where it's like, we're going to focus on this one right-wing thing and make them look, show the ridiculousness of it. And I think it's important to keep in mind, so you don't fall for radicalism, so you don't fall for, oh, stupid Republicans, stupid conservatives, to balance it out with the same susceptibility that the left has for falling for things that are.
I am not for equal, like, I don't think everything has to be like, well, okay, sometimes things just are, okay, you watch the documentary, they talk to the people who are behind the sites that the Q would post on, and you just get to see them. And I know, I mean, I'm a video editor, I know how you can manipulate stuff in the editing room. But I also know at a certain point, when you see enough video, you have enough to kind of think, okay, you can't manipulate all of this. This is just, this is kind of who this person is, right?
Oh yeah, no, this is a revelatory work, and it's important to have it revealed.
And so I think that it's good to just say, hey, this just is what it is. We don't necessarily need to say, oh, well, the left has this version of that. I think it's in a bubble, or isolate this. I'm just talking about QAnon. I'm not speaking anything to the left has its crazies too, different types of crazies. But like you said earlier, they all at some point meet it together in a circle. And I've got my issues with people who are super far on the left too. But this particular thing, from what I saw, and what most people who watched this saw, it's not that ambiguous as to what was going on for most people. I mean, I'm sure there's another side of that argument, and I'd love to discuss it. but anyway, it just seemed kind of, it just got me thinking as to how people really get into these conspiracy theory type, how people become Fox Mulder, but without,
right.
without the badge.
No, I was referring to, like, as a consumer, and right now it's so polarized. It's like the Daily Show. They'll bash conservatives all the time, and Tucker Carlson will bash liberals all the time, and that's all they do. And there's no it's tribal. It's team. Their team is worse than our team, and so a documentary like that, it is interesting. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak for it, but I hope it was done in a tasteful way so that it isn't just exploiting the people who fall for that stuff. And I know it's hard to not exploit it because they did some very harmful things. And I shouldn't say exploit. It's hard not to, like, want to maybe twist a knife or really make them look stupid or something like that, because they've done a lot of harm. But I mean, that just perpetuates things. And you get the never vote Republican, never vote Democrat, and that sort of polarity is not healthy. But I mean, we're not in a healthy place right now. We've got these radical elements, and it goes back to what we talked about last time in the first podcast about how the internet has done this, right? Because these conspiracies would not go nearly as far as they did if not for the internet. The internet has been a really tough thing for our country, more so than, I don't know. It's amazing how, like, China has been relatively peaceful with the internet. And they've locked down on it, they've
been peaceful because they're a communist country. They can control what's on it, right?
Yes and no. I mean, it's not that hard to get around their restrictions, actually. But the people there are pretty, because I lived there for a year, and the people there are pretty. They're pretty compliant, like, oh, I had a blog on WordPress and people couldn't go to it because it was blocked. And I said, oh, just use a VPN, and that way you can route your traffic through another place, and then it won't look like you coming at it from China. And they said, oh, no, it's fine. Like, we just won't go to your blog then.
Was there some sort of worry or threat, that there was some sort of consequence?
I didn't see a lot of ambition. I met one woman that was a little more rebellious, and but I didn't, it's all anecdotal. I didn't do a survey or anything, but I just didn't meet a lot of people who seemed interested. And I met quite a few people. I worked at a school and I taught adults English, and none of them really seemed to really, just, okay, it's blocked. Can't go.
And that probably speaks to just the nature of kind of people who crave out, who want to look behind the the curtain. You know, there's like, I think we just live in a culture and a society where a lot of people think, I mean, and probably because there have been a lot of instances where the government was hiding things or was doing stuff, or there's just, you know, so the trust kind of is gone at a certain point, and you always think that there's something more going on. Whereas me, I kind of think most things are like, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the shadows, but I don't think it's that complex. I think people just kind of steal and rob, and it just, you know, but it's not this grand conspiracy. It's just.
I agree. I see the harm being done to the U.S. as a whole as much as anyone, but to think that it's some plan is where you know, it loses me. It's like, yeah, all these things can be happening, but it doesn't have to be a plan to.
No.
I mean, in my state, people think that our governor is here in Minnesota is doing all this for some plan to destroy small businesses and all that, and it's like, no, I mean, maybe he is destroying some small businesses, but it's not. I don't think that's his goal. I don't think that he wakes up in the morning and thinks, I'm going to do this. It might end up benefiting Targets and Walmarts more than the mom and pop, and that's true. I think he is destroying it, but I don't think he's doing it. I think he's just more concerned about the virus than you are about the economy. You know, things like that. It's just priorities, and it's how he sees the world. So through that lens and through the effectiveness of government or the ineffectiveness of government, we have these solutions that really aren't doing too well. So yeah, that kind of explains the whole COVID fiasco in this country. It's been inconsistent and half-assed and not too good. The U.S. is in a tough spot.
I got two shots tomorrow, so I'm feeling a lot better.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. My mom got hers a few months back, so we're good. But speaking of Minneapolis, so what's the temperature there during the Floyd trial, or the Chauvin trial, I should say?
That's right. They got mad because people were calling it the Floyd trial.
Yeah.
But no, it's not Floyd on the stand. They're right. It's the Chauvin trial.
No, I would say the defense is definitely trying to put George Floyd on trial. But yeah. So
they are.
What's the feel there?
Dude, it's all over. Like, people are convinced he's gonna get off, and people are convinced he's guilty. And it's weird, right? It's sort of like QAnon. Like, and maybe the election. There's no way Trump's going to win, or there's no way Trump's going to lose. You know, I heard that all the time leading up to November. Now I'm hearing that now. People really believe what they want to believe.
Yeah. And
it's like any other topic in this country. There's very little middle ground. What I find interesting about the trial is how it's sort of it's outgrown the system, where I question whether or not he can even get a fair trial, because just how big it became, and finding unbiased jurors, I think, would be next to impossible.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking as to whether I think he's guilty or innocent, or to the degree that I think he is, but I just think, man, it would be just about impossible for him to get like a seriously unbiased, trial. It's scary. The threat of repercussion is scary. Jurors must know that if they don't convict him, the city's going to burn.
It's going to burn. It is. Yeah.
I mean, that's like, how do you? I thought about this after the death, and I thought, man, now Chauvin had like I just imagine him being like sacrificial, like, you know what? Do what you got to do to convict me so that the city doesn't burn.
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know, there was some weird fantasy, but I don't know, I guess that was the storyteller in me. Like, that's the way he could make amends or something. But
sacrifice. Well,
I don't see how. And the jurors, I mean, if they don't convict him, someone will try to out them potentially. And his lawyer, he could be threatened if Chauvin gets off. You know, it's very hard. Social media connected for this system to work anymore. There's too much media for this system to work effectively. This trial is too big. This trial has become it has outgrown the system, I think, to be effective, to try to put a lid on these things that are required for a fair trial.
I would say, though,
that's my observation.
I wouldn't say this is what you call an outlier, right?
It is an outlier.
Not a lot of trials, so I wouldn't say it outgrew the system. It's just a very unique case, And I mean, and so I'm a pessimist because I've just, you look at most times when cops, kill people, they really don't get sentenced. I mean, there was this slew of them the last few years that seemed pretty obvious. I mean, the other one it was St. Paul, the Philando Castile,
That's
okay,
right.
that one I mean, that was kind of for me though, like, okay, well, I'm never gonna think that this shit's gonna go the way I kind of think it should. But so I went in pessimistic watching, into the trial. In the first week or so, I mean, up until the last couple of days, I've watched a lot of it. And even the last couple of days, I've watched recaps of it. And of course, I think that, it was excessive. Chauvin should be found guilty because 9 minutes on a man's neck or upper back, in a prone position is just not what they train. It's not smart. It's just, there's whatever. But I thought going to the trial that there was definitely there was going to be some real doubt cast upon certain things. But I mean, and also everybody kind of knew that George Floyd he was on something. He had something in the system. But when you watch the video of him, you see him in the store and you can tell he's on something, right? But I mean, hell, I can't count how many times I've been in a store, not on any sort of meth or fentanyl or whatever, but I've been drunk in stores, getting my Fritos and Butterfingers late at night. I've been in a store. Doesn't mean I'm going to rob the place or, beat up somebody. But anyway, but I kind of expected him to be a little more menacing. Just as a tall guy and, on drugs, I thought maybe this is there. But when you see it, the dude is just he's just sad. Like he's just kind of begging for, like in the point when they get him in the car and he's begging to not be put in the car because he's claustrophobic and he's had bad experiences before. I'm just thinking, this is a grown ass dude just begging not to be put in there because it was a different version of him than I kind of expected. And it just gave me more compassion. Like, how can this dude is like, you don't see grown men begging other grown men very often. And it just added this extra, I'm like, well, shit, like this thing I thought might work against him actually worked for him, and I think anyway. So now that I've seen it go this way, I'm back to being, I'm going against my common sense and thinking, well, maybe he is going to get convicted. Maybe he is going to be convicted. And now I'm setting myself up because there's a version of this where I do see a compelling point on the other side. I think, well, they cast it out. All it takes is one. That's it. I don't see that. I mean, everything I've seen, every cop they put on the stand talks about how what he did was not part of their training. Not part of their training. It was excessive. Any cop who gave a shit would not do this. Any cop who wanted to save a life would not do this. Or any cop, anyway. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's I like that you bring up the human interest. Just seeing Floyd, just the humanitarian aspect of it. Of course, that's what this whole thing is about. Is that a man was begging for his life, but you call him sad. He's just, that was a sad ending to his life, man. Like that's, and I'm curious. I'm curious about his life a little bit. Like, what led a man at that age to be in that condition to try to pass off a $20 bill? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that would respond, well, systemic racism, and okay, what are the details? Like, that's a sad life. That's a sad life and an awful ending to it.
Well, and I think what first kind of got me in the beginning of the witnesses was just how everybody on the stand, like the guy, there was a kid who's, I don't know, maybe 19 or 20, he's young, who took the counterfeit bill and he sold it. And he said there was a guy who tried to pass a $20, maybe the same one before him. And he got a shady vibe from the guy and he's like, no, I'm not taking that. And then it was a guy George Floyd was with. So Floyd comes around after and tries to pass the same bill. And the kid says he took it because he almost felt bad for him. The other guy, it seemed like he was kind of a con, he was a hustler, but Floyd, he's like, I don't even know if he knew it was fake. And he felt bad. And the way their store worked was that if you take a fake bill, you got to just eat that. Like that's 20 out of your pocket. But he felt so kind of like either sad for him or just kind of he just took it. And then a little later, he kind of started second guessing it. But to see him on the stand, knowing that the decision he made in that moment kind of is what kind of set everything off, he just looked so just like, fuck, just sad. And everybody who was up there, who witnessed it, just their eyes, everybody just felt so,
yeah, it's
like,
impossible.
I could have done more. Like, it could have, so necessary.
It's practically impossible. Not impossible, but very hard to not see Chauvin as the villain. You know, like almost caricaturishly a villain.
Have you been in handcuffs before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have too.
I've been arrested a couple of times.
Yeah, I've been arrested one time. And the handcuffs kind of stop you from doing things. When they're behind your back,
they're kind of real.
So much you could do, right?
Yeah. I don't know. This is where like I've heard cops say they hear it all the time. I can't breathe. Like that's something that criminals will say a lot. I don't know. And I don't know anything about police protocol, whether or not putting a knee on someone's neck or back is okay. I guess it's not.
No.
It doesn't seem it was it was an intentional murder. I don't think he was putting his knee on him like die. I don't think there's anything like that. He looked too casual, but
what do you? Okay, so that's something I
doesn't mean it doesn't mean it wasn't careless and reckless and guilty of that.
What do you think though? I mean, we will never know this, but what do you think the point was?
I don't know. I was talking about this actually with my brother. I almost think like, I think he was a kind of a pig-headed, hard-headed cop and stubborn. And I think I wonder if him knowing he's on camera, because he knows it's 2020, he knows everything's going to go viral, and he saw people. And you think on one hand that might make him let up, but I think when they're telling him what to do, get off of him, he was just like, screw you, I'm doing my job. I think it was abstinence.
It was
that's one theory I have.
It was almost more as a F you to the people watching.
Yeah, like, let me do my job, get out of here. This guy has been, whatever, he's earned this position on the ground. We got to detain him. He's breaking the law, whatever. And so let us do our job. All the people telling him what to do, it's just, he might have just been like, yeah, whatever, shut up. I'm doing this.
You know what, though, the kind of, if you really think about it, the craziest part is that he's got Floyd on the ground. And normally when you put somebody in cuffs and you get them to comply, what do you do after they comply? What do you do with them?
I mean, if I believed he was totally complicit, then I would lighten up. But
no, but okay. Well, so what I think what happens most times is the guy complies, stops resisting. You put him into the squad car, right? Right. That's just like they put him. You put him in a squad car. You take him downtown or wherever. That's kind of normally what you do. But they put his ass straight in the ambulance. So at some point, the cops knew something was bad enough to where they're going to have to haul him and put him in an ambulance, not the back seat. And yet he still had his knee on him until the ambulance showed up. Right. So it's kind of this, he knew it was bad because they called an ambulance.
I wonder if he just wasn't like a deer in headlights a little bit too. I mean, I've been in tense situations where I didn't really know what I was doing. You kind of just go on autopilot, or like I said, that sort of automatic obstinacy where you're gonna just say, I'm doing my job and sticking to that, and you just kind of go on the script and you forget about the context, the body, I don't think he's going to testify, is he? But it would be interesting if he did.
I mean, usually you don't really, you don't go on the stand, but so I doubt he will. But,
that'd be interesting. That would be the most well-watched part of the trial, obviously.
I kind of think that, I mean, I don't know. I think they're just banking on, all it takes is one dude. I had a guy, a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. We have all these, we've been arguing over politics for 20 years, right? And I mean, you know where he is if we're arguing on politics. And he texted me something earlier this week. I was like, okay.
Hey, then I applaud you being friends with him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
But
just,
you know what? That's important. That's
yeah.
very important.
But this was a point where at a certain point, I'm like, man, hey, if I'm not, if that's what you think, man, I'm not here to convince you otherwise. I just kind of, and then he said one more thing, and then I replied, and that was kind of that. And we don't get mad at each other, but we do go at it. But anyway, I just thought, man, if you can watch this, if you can hear this, you can see this, and then I got nothing for you, man. The video is the video.
Yeah, yeah, and that's also why this is kind of outgrowing the system, because the video is going to be all people need, and if he's not convicted, I think even of second-degree murder, they're going to freak out. And
well, it's not first degree. I don't believe. I believe it is just second.
Well, that's not even a charge. They're not even charged. It's second and third.
Yeah.
I think I'm guessing that people are looking for, this is another thing too, America is in a state of unrest in general. Like, people are looking for a reason to freak out, right? They just, especially the white people that freak out about this stuff, they're looking for a reason to freak out. These Antifa out in like Oregon and Seattle and here, I don't think it's genuine. I don't think they really care about
well, okay, now, but I do think the vast majority of people, like when you look at protests in the summer, the vast majority of people just want to bring awareness to an issue that's just constant. That's the systematic problems with this country.
Okay,
from racial
protests, yes. I guess I was speaking more about the rioters.
And I don't think most people, I mean, look, I'm all for taking to the streets, right, and protesting and using there was a quote from a song I listened to the other day, a Martin Luther King quote. God dang it, what was that quote? It was like a rioting. Is it protest is the voice of the unheard, something along those lines.
We'll put it on the screen for people.
Yeah, I'll find it. But it's just, I mean, if the same things keep happening and nobody's listening, then what are you going to do? Now, I'm not saying you burn down neighborhoods and cities, but you apply pressure through the mass, through numbers. And I'm all for that, but I'm not for burning down buildings and targets and whatever. I mean, I understand how people can kind of get to that place, but I don't condone it. I mean, hell, Minneapolis is my favorite city, and the last thing I want to do is get burned down, but anyway, we'll see how it comes down, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I could see it going anyway. I could see them convicting him of everything or nothing.
Based on what I've seen, it'll be even more egregious if he's not convicted of various charges. It'll be egregious, and it'll also just reconfirm what a lot of people think is that, and I think this is more, I mean, we don't need to say this much longer, but I look at this and all the evidence I saw, there was nothing in the evidence to say that Derek Chauvin was a racist, right? He could be, he might be. I mean, I don't think if that's honestly, at the sex thing, I don't think that's a woman that he's doing that to her, right? But in the trial, it's not even about the race. Specifically in the trial, it's more just about police this guy being an asshole. That's what it's about. A lack of accountability for people who have a whole lot of power over other people. You put a man in cuffs, you at that point, once you cuff him, you are in charge of his safety. You can't just, I mean, you watch something like the UFC, like where people are supposed to be fighting against each other. Once a person is out, that person, I mean, once the ref, the dude he's off, he's done. It's kind of like it's not a fight at that point. It's just you stop. And I think, anyway, I don't know why I went into that bit, but anyway. But okay. We'll keep following this, obviously, because it's going to be an ongoing thing. And as we come to every talk every 2 weeks, there'll be more information. But this week, we kind of need to move on from this. And I want to, we discussed a video that you were going to show. And I'm thinking it might be time to cue that thing up. Are you ready?
All right. Cue
it up. Yeah. CUE. Is that how you do it? Cue? Yes. Yeah, cue up.
No, actually, it's Q is a
QUE?
strange word. It's Queue. No kidding. It's Queue.
I'm gonna look this up.
It's the dumbest word you've ever seen. Yeah. Jamie, can you look that up?
Yeah.
It is. It's the weirdest word. It took me forever to learn how to spell. I'm like, no, that's not right. That's not right. Oh, yeah, okay.
I should have known this at this point. Okay, I'm gonna fact check that along with I'm putting up the quote on the screen. Okay, so do you want to set this up? What do we have here?
Sure. So this is a video that actually started to get a few more views on my YouTube channel. It's kind of fun how a video will suddenly get more views. Like YouTube's algorithm just decides. It goes both ways too. Like the homelessness documentary is getting a bunch, and now it's getting not very many. So this video sort of came out of nowhere and starting to get like 1,000 views, every few days, which is a lot for our channel.
Yeah.
So I go out to Oregon in the summer of 2017, and I just travel around the region of the Pacific Northwest, and I interview people I meet along the way. And a couple of them are arranged, but a lot of them are just random. And this one was arranged. My brother knew this guy. And so I went out there and I camped one night at this marijuana farm, and it's not super formal. It's just 4 hippies that got a bunch of plants.
Wait, it's a marijuana farm that's not formal?
It's not very formal, like, well, you might think, what one would be, but there are some real proper industrial operations nowadays. There's some proper operations, but this isn't ragtag though either. They got a lot of trees and they know what they're doing, and they look great. I mean, you could smell the bud. It was just something. But they're interesting people. They're young. They're kind of hippies, and we had fun talking about a few things at their farm in Southern Oregon.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, we'll play it at the same time here. Okay.
Okay.
In the summer of 2017, I set off to discover the people of the Pacific Northwest. My second destination, a marijuana farm in Southern Oregon.
I just saw this place about a year ago. It was a real mess. Been trying to clean it up. Before that, I spent 2 years on a crop out in Medford.
When you say on a crop, you mean you lived on the farm there?
Yeah, I lived in a little tiny one-man tent right next to the plants like this big. Saved up and got a little RV, and then met a girl that had a little bit of money too, and we kind of went together and got a ran down piece of property, and been working at fixing it up.
He's strong.
Yeah, he's a beast. Started him in March, and it's now July.
When will you harvest?
November.
Are there any flowers on these yet? No buds?
No.
But I can smell them.
I don't smell anything.
I smell pot when I came here.
We're used to it. I'm his girlfriend.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Now I smell weed. Hi. Cody?
Cody.
Pleasure. Brandon. Hi.
May.
May.
Yeah.
Hi, that's the month of my birthday.
A lot of people think I'm born in May, but no, October.
That was my second guess. So how did you get hooked up with Mike?
We met locally. I've been in the area of Oregon for 2 years. I came from Iowa to do
one.
just this, work on crops like this. We met through networking. Came down to check out the site this year, and he needed the extra help, so I packed up everything and moved down here to do it.
What's your day like?
Pretty much just hang out.
My day,
I get up by like 9:30, come out here, look at the plants, see how they're doing. Maybe mix up some water tanks, put some nutrients in there, and then go inside, maybe smoke some weed, eat some breakfast, come over, hang out with these guys, smoke some dab. Then maybe
Dab is no
lunch
joke.
around noon.
Dab is no
A little
joke.
bit of video.
So?
It's a lot of work in the
So much
beginning,
THC.
year, putting it in, and then it's a lot of sitting and waiting for a plant to grow.
Yeah,
They smoked it like a joint. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
the right amount of
you
10 or
either,
11
10
can.
and 11
Yeah,
can.
that's right.
food or the wrong food on there, they could die.
Mhm.
Or if you did it the wrong time, you can rot the roots.
Yeah, you become really in tune with what the plants need.
One thing is,
What'd she say? You're tuned with what the plants what? See?
Need.
Need.
They put crystals by the plants.
Yeah, we really believe in crystal therapy.
we put crystals in every single plant.
What does the crystal do?
gives it good energy.
Oh yeah, it like
Energy is just-
amplifies
yeah.
the good energy.
What are the bamboo shoots for, if that's what those even are?
It was when they were smaller. It was helping hold them up. Come out eventually, but
Love those
pretty
sunglasses.
much hold them out.
Is there a lot of money in this?
If you do it illegally, yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's the whole money laundering thing that you got to try to get away.
Yeah, if you sold this on the street, you can make quite a bit of money, couldn't you?
Yeah, you make a lot of money, and then what am I gonna do with all that money?
Can't put it in the
Can't put it
bank.
in the
I
bank.
can't buy a car. Can't go buy a boat. It's kind of scary just being around this for people, you know? You come out here and you see something like this, it's like, oh shit, you know, like even my best friends that live out in other states would come out here, they'd be like, oh my God, like nervous just to be around such a high security thing because most people are getting shot at.
Yeah, there has been a shooting.
Yeah, there's shootings all the time. Yeah, we
As long
had
as you're
one
smart
guy out
about
here
it, you
that
should be pretty good.
I ended up having to choke him out and put the shotgun on him and stuff. But that was a little crazy. Met him on Craigslist. No drinking, no drugs.
That's how a lot of bad stories start.
Is that you? Is that your ad?
Work and
Met him on Craigslist.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
got cases of beer all over the place. He's got pharmaceutical drugs chilling on his counter. And the place is a mess, the trailer that we're letting him stay in. Next thing you know, he's gone. We're all out here working and stuff. And I finally am like, hey, we got to tell this guy to leave. So I tell him to leave. And he's mad. You know, he's throwing a bunch of shit everywhere. And I'm watching him from the house. And next thing you know, he goes marching towards the plants that are inside the shipping container. And they're all little tiny ones like this big. It'll take you 5 seconds to destroy it, you know? So I'm like, oh crap, what's he doing running over there? So I run over there, meet him at the shipping container door. What are you doing, bro? Like, holy shit, you're fucking stupid. And start uppercutting him and punching him in the head. Choked him out real good, you know? Told him I was gonna bury him. But, you know.
Did you witness this?
Yeah, I was inside though. I was too afraid.
She's so chill. She's so
Were you
stoned.
proud of Mike, or were you?
Oh, absolutely.
You weren't like ashamed. Like, what are you doing? What are you acting like this for?
Regular guy.
No, I trust him to have the judgment to know if it's, you know.
And now hearing the story, he made the right choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of going right for our stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And it was a huge investment. We would
Right.
invest a lot.
So much money involved.
Yeah.
Where'd the shotgun come from?
Well, I had to pull the shotgun on him to tell him to leave.
Ah.
For this, you know, I
Oh, yeah.
choked him out and told him, you know, it's time to go, you know, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, get the fuck out of here. I go in the house and get the shotgun. I'm like, get your shit and get it out of here. Like, grab it and go.
Did he have a vehicle?
No, he had to call and get a ride.
Oh, okay. He hasn't come back again? Would you be worried he might come back again?
No way.
Okay. There must be a lot of migration.
There's, during harvest, there's this thing where a lot of people come here to trim weed. And they collect in areas where they can try to just hold signs, need work, you know?
Wow.
And there'd be a bunch of them, 20 people at a time next to the grocery store down there. And people are calling them trimigants. Because they're immigrants and they're here to trim, so it's trimigants. People are saying it causes problems because they're like, they don't have money, they're kind of camping out,
Homeless,
they're homeless, you know,
transient.
they're stealing people's stuff or whatever. They come from all around the world.
Everywhere.
I met a guy from France.
All over
there's
the
a guy
place.
from Ireland I
Yeah,
met.
all over the world. They come out here just to trim weed down at the grocery store there and be like, I'm picking up 20 trimigants right now. Come get in the truck.
Wow.
Usually what you do is blindfold.
We'll do a piece on
You
trimming.
we blindfold them?
Back here. And then once they're in here, they have no idea where they're at.
Yeah.
You take their phones. You don't get your phone for the week that you get to work here.
Wow.
We blindfold you, bring you out here, and then you sit here for a week, pulling leaves off the plants.
You have these plants sitting here. Somebody could just take them.
You can't go to the police if that happens?
You
Really,
can't.
there's no cops
Nothing that's
to
gonna
go
gonna
to.
do. The county has a few sheriffs at best.
They don't want cops because they are just a waste of money. They're
They
not doing
voted to
anything.
not have cops
Yeah,
here.
a while ago.
Yeah, they don't do anything. We spend $2,000 a month on security during flower season, from October all the way through the end of November.
You do personally?
Yeah. So why would I pay a police service that's not going to come here and watch my crop?
It is like the Wild West out here, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Kinda.
Do you dig it?
I mean,
It's
I
cool.
come from Iowa. It's a lot better than the Bible Belt. In Iowa, I'm a felon for having 2.7 grams of weed. They gave me a felony because I didn't want to snitch and go through their whole system of confidential informant bullshit. So I took the felony. My PO said, 9 months of me being on probation. He's like, what's going on here? You drop dirty every week. I held the job down. I took care of my sick grandma. I was sick. I didn't do anything bad. I just dropped dirty for weed. He said, I'm just done with this. He signed me off probation and told me to leave the state. So I left the state and came to Oregon. I wanted to be legal forever. Iowa didn't let you be legal. So you had to be illegal. Then I found out Oregon.
Because you had to smoke.
Oh yeah, I had to smoke. I mean, I puke blood, shit blood. I should have lost like 8 feet of my intestines by now. They told me I wouldn't live till 27, 26. I'm healthy as fuck.
You two are in a good relationship. Because you can say that in front of her and you're not like embarrassed.
No. No, it's like life. She might have to see that at one point or another. You know, normally when I smoke, you really don't have to deal with it. But
So the weed really tempers those symptoms.
oh yeah. They wanted to take feet of my intestines out. They said there was no way I would live without taking feet of my intestines out. I still have all my everything.
Crazy.
And I've taken nothing. I did none of the medicines they gave me, none of the treatments they suggested. I just smoked weed like crazy.
That's cool.
What's the knife on your hip for? Work?
No, work day to day. You know, you just never know. I mean, intimidation. You know what I mean? You don't really want to fuck with a knife that big.
No.
Normally, if you got a knife this big, you can talk your way out of it.
Hmm.
Everyone around town carries big knives like that.
Well, this is
Guns.
tiny.
Really?
People walk around with swords.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
people walk down the street with guns.
I saw a guy get out of his car and unload like 6 guns off of him,
Looks like a merc
and then
from
go
a
into the
movie.
store. This guy was like a merc, just covered with guns, and just unloaded all of his guns.
Oregon is a funny blend of like West and progressivism, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a
You
cool
got like a
place.
bunch of hippies and a bunch of people that really love guns, and everyone kind of likes weed.
Have you heard of State of Jefferson? This whole Southern Oregon, Northern California area, a lot of people were pushing for making it a new state a long time ago. Then World War II happened and caused the whole thing to just get put
Oh,
under.
wait, was it the
But a
Civil
lot
War?
of people here still fly the flag. It's a green flag with like this yellow,
Oh yeah, you'll see it everywhere.
this yellow circle thing in it.
Parliament.
The hippies, they're all about Mother Earth and nature. They grow organically like we do, eat organic foods and stuff, but a lot of the rednecks are out there just polluting and tearing shit up and
So there's a battle here of hippies versus rednecks.
kind of, yeah,
If there's a war, where do you stand?
pretty much with the hippies.
Absolutely.
And there's tweakers.
Yeah, the tweakers are crazy.
And then nobody likes the tweakers, so that's a third party.
I mean, do you feel like this is a good place to be? And
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely nice. Pretty chill.
despite any discord between some groups,
Yeah, no, they don't mess with us, really.
Yeah, because we're not a problem.
you have a son?
Yeah, he's 4.
And are you the only parent here?
I have kids, but they live in Utah.
Oh, okay. Well, then as parents, what are your thoughts about the future of the country or of the world? Like, do you think things are getting better?
I'm pretty positive about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the amount of psychedelics that are going around in the communities now throughout the country are opening people's eyes more to the pollutions that we're causing to the planet. So more people are going to start leaning towards saving the planet and becoming more like hippies than rednecks.
Hmm.
Not that there's anything wrong with the redneck thing, but burning tires and stuff like that shouldn't happen. Everyone should start growing more food and vegetables and more weed.
I like this guy.
Do the research.
At least legalizes it. for
Everybody's got a
medical.
sick aunt. Everybody's got a sick grandma.
Farmers.
Don't
No.
suppress your feelings with pills.
Pharmacy-
But if you are too high of energetic and you need to repress that, then you should just do something.
Do more.
Don't sedate the kid.
Yeah.
Make him go run around.
Yeah,
Play.
don't tell kids that they can't run around and have fun.
So high energy, they're not.
Those kids will end up addicted to drugs.
Yeah, drugs are bad. Drugs are bad, okay?
Drugs.
I laughed, but I really like. Oh, okay.
A little bit at the end here.
Okay.
We got 25% all day long.
So it's just a more concentrated form of.
Yeah, he's dabbing that right in that hot area.
Pulled it out of, you know? So there's no question whether
Yeah.
it's still any. It's like still perfect
Still
padding.
still
Perfect padding, not a single piece missing. Here's your half pound dab. It goes snap and breaks it every time. I'm like,
That's how that's done, huh?
That's great.
Basically, like I don't know how many joints worth of weed in one hit, but I mean, it would knock most people right out, and they did it like it was a cigarette, right? It wasn't that big a deal.
Just watching that video, my eyes feel kind of heavy, right? It's intense. But no, I didn't know you had that one in the catalog. That's a fun one. That's a fun
It
one.
is a fun one. It's a good one. YouTube is a little frustrating because you just don't know which videos are going to do well. Like I don't know why Bill Jones was going to do well and this one didn't. I mean, this one I had a more flashy intro, right? Compared to Bill Jones, it just starts off as nothing.
That might be part of it. To just starting off, maybe.
I noticed minimalism sometimes does better. In fact, I just changed the thumbnail on this video of the hippie to one that's a little more just plain and no words on it, just the picture. Because I see that doing well with the human interest video. It's just a portrait, no words on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
But yeah, why this one didn't do better, I really don't know. But now it's doing a little better, and I don't know why that's the case either. But why not run with it? If it's going to roll a little further, why not help push it a little bit? So
there you go. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was good. The characters in it were all entertaining, and played a specific role. I mean, the girl in the purple reminded me midway through. I'm thinking, is that Liv Tyler? Is that where she's been? You know, yeah, because she called.
Yeah, she was such a.
She was so stoned.
She needed to go to Woodstock.
She did.
Even the clothes she wore were like real light, like she's gonna
like an angel.
Yeah.
So okay, well that's good. That's good. I'm glad we watched that one. So as far as the upcoming week or so, you have anything planned? Anything out of the ordinary?
Yeah, I to get back to politics, I'm still working on the interviews I've done with strong supporters of Donald Trump and kind of where they see themselves nowadays. Now that it's long past his defeat, yet they still fly his flag, and it's like, what's going on? What's going through their minds about that? So I got that, and actually, it's going to lend itself to another video I'm going to do. So a year after Trump won, I interviewed a bunch of people, including people here in the West Coast when I was out there, and I said, "How did you react to Trump's victory?" All right, it's a simple question. And so you're going to get a wide range of responses: shock, horror, cheer, right, celebration. And then I just put all those in one video. Well, now I'm going to do one, I think, where it's 1 year after, or even not even 1 year, maybe just 6 months after his defeat. How did you react to his defeat? And you're going to get a wide range of, thank God, relief, but also like conspiracy, like, oh, it was rigged,
Candy.
It's interesting content. I don't think it's going to be too eye-opening because we kind of know where the country stands, but it'll offer a nice side-by-side of these various people. I just got to go out there and collect the interviews, and you can get a couple from Oklahoma if you want.
I'm done with any. You know me. I can't. There's some topics I'm just. It's not.
That's how one of the I went to Evergreen College, which was at the time was in the news for their students uprising and kind of taking it over there. And I went there and talked to her about that. But then I asked her about Trump, and this was 9 months after he won in 2017, and she's like, I don't even like to say his name. I just don't even like want to pretend he exists. She says. So, but she talked about her reaction to the election anyway. So she is in that one video. I'll put it up here when during this podcast so people can watch it, including you, Paul, or not.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it. How about that? So okay, well that sounds like you got some stuff lined up. So that's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got also the Alaska radio station one coming out soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So when I was up there, they have this old cabin-like radio station, and it might sound kind of dull, but it was really a real authentic slice of life in outside of Fairbanks. I guess it's not northern Alaska. The state is so big that even halfway up, you feel like you're in the Arctic, but not quite. But it's like grass-roofed cabin.
Right. Say that again. It's a grass roof.
Grass-roofed.
Yeah.
Broad-roofed cabins that make up this radio station campus. And the reach they've had to other countries through their Christian radio is quite remarkable. So it's a cute little story, Americana, you might think, wholesome.
It's good.
So yeah, that'll be coming out too on the channel soon. So look for that if you're watching this, and let us know your thoughts on whatever. comments on this show, on videos you'd like to see us make. Paul, are you doing some work down there on a couple things?
I'm finishing up a couple big projects and kind of looking for some new things, trying to line up some new work, and made a couple of little connections. I'm going to try to, kind of see where they go. But basically, it's just projects I've been working on that I'm trying to finish up. So, I did. Speaking of weed, though, I do some videos for this local weed shop, because Oklahoma surprisingly has made medicinal weed, marijuana, legal. So we've got shops everywhere, and this big company came through. They had a grand opening here in Norman last week that I went and filmed, and those videos are kind of, actually they just posted them today, and I've done the little teaser videos here and there that are on my Instagram that I really, really am proud of. I had a good time doing them. So yeah, weed is everywhere, it seems. It's everywhere and out in the open, but that's kind of something I've kind of recently did. I'm pretty proud of. So
cool.
Anyway, but okay, well, I think we covered it,
I think we've covered quite a few bases. Yeah, I think we did a nice little check-in here.
Yeah.
We'll get back to work on our projects. And yeah, again, out there in the community, if you're watching this, let us know your thoughts, videos that you'd like to see us do, or thoughts on this show. And, we want to grow this channel with you in mind, the viewers watching this. So yeah, just thanks for watching again.